Hi everyone, welcome back to UTrain Online's tips for when you're in your kitchen. We already covered the fridge, what's in our fridge, and some tips on how to be supermarket savvy, so make sure to look at that video if you haven't seen it. Today we're going to be talking about staples that you can keep in your pantry, which are really great because you can buy them in bulk, they don't necessarily go and spoil so fast, and there are things that can really come in handy when you're making smoothies, when you're making salads, when you're baking. So it's great when you need something in a pinch to not grab something that you're not so happy with your choice. When you have these things, you can stave off those mistakes that we might make when we're looking for something when we're hungry. So we're going to start with what we tell our clients often are great things to have. So we're going to start off with our nuts and our nut butters. So I have a variety of different nuts that I like, but really the sky's the limit, right? There's almonds, Brazil nuts, hazelnuts, macadamia nuts, pistachios. The tip that we always give is to make sure that when you're buying them, to try to go dry roasted or raw whenever you can, and to always look on the ingredient list in the back. The ingredients should be what the nut is. Sometimes you might see sea salts, but those are really the only two ingredients that you want. You don't want to go for anything fancy. I know it's very tempting to get something cinnamon coated or everything but the bagel kind of seasonings, but again, it could have a seasoning, but it can't have those ingredients be a long list, and sometimes we can actually do things to the nuts in our kitchen that would make it just as delicious.
Especially a big thing that you'll see a lot is like oils. There shouldn't be any oils in like especially these dry nuts to begin with, and then when you get to like the actual butters, the oil will come from the nut itself. There shouldn't be an added oil to that. Like when you puree your almond or your peanuts, it's going to create an oil, and that's what you see here floating at the top. This wasn't added, this came from the nut. That's pretty important.
Right, absolutely. A lot of times you can get organic. Look for that seal that we've talked about before, the USDA organic seal, but the most important thing is that ingredient list. Almonds, again, you might see sea salt in here. You can definitely look for the cleanest versions, especially when you go with your peanut butters. Peanuts tend to be something that does have a little bit more pesticides, a little bit more allergens to them. But even if you don't have a peanut allergy, you can have more of an effect. So a lot of times Valencia peanuts is a great ingredient to look for. A little harder to find, but at the very least, look to make sure that there's no oils in there that you're not looking to have. Same thing goes with your seeds. So in the nuts, I always say pair them off with seeds. This is a great way when we talk about protein shakes later. I don't particularly have a protein powder that I use, which we'll get to in another video, but there are ways to add protein into your shake because it is great to have more of a filling shake. You don't want it to just be all sugary fruit and water. So a lot of times I tell my clients to add protein in with nuts and seeds. So great things that you could look for are your flax seeds. I get mine ground up already. You can go with chia seeds, you can go with hemp seeds, sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds. All of these things can be added to shakes, onto salads and things like that.
I was just going to say, or onto your salads.
Yep, absolutely. Why don't you talk about sweeteners, Serena?
Okay, so instead of just adding sugar to everything, a good alternative would be a maple syrup or a honey. We don't have it here quite, but like a raw coconut sugar is a good alternative to your white sugar, that especially for like baking and stuff like that. And then Jess here also has coconut flakes. The key here is organic, unsweetened. For honey, you're looking for raw, unfiltered. If the more local you can get it, the better for you, because you're talking about local allergens and stuff like that. But I know that's not really practical for everybody. If you can find a local farm that does sell raw unfiltered honey, that's ideal. And then for the maple syrup, you're also, again, looking for organic, and it's obviously too far away for you guys to see, but that little USDA organic label right there on the front of the package.
Same thing what we said before with the nut butters. Always look for the ingredients. They really are very sneaky. They can be hidden. Coconut is naturally sweet. You don't need anything else. So unsweetened is important, and just make sure that the ingredient is just organic coconut. You don't need anything else added to it. I like to add these in my shakes or on top of something like a bowl of fruit, or if you like yogurt, like a plain yogurt, or I don't particularly do oatmeal, but we'll talk about what oats you can look for, putting them on top of oats, because again, what is everybody's go-to add that sugar in, but there's plenty of natural sweeteners out there that you can add to give you that sweet tooth. And these are great for baking. Me and Serena do a lot of alternative baking, and you really don't taste the difference between using white sugar and something healthy that you can actually get some health benefits from, such as honey and
in fact, like I make my boys in my house are very skeptical of a lot of this stuff. So when I make their banana bread and banana muffins, I use honey instead of the sugar, and they love it. They don't know that that's what I did instead. They have no idea.
Totally. We talked about alternative milks in our fridge video, but I just wanted to show you that you can buy cans of organic coconut milk. This is full fat, so where I may not use this in a shake particularly, unless you're looking for, again, something very filling, I do use it in baking a lot, or my pancake mix that I make homemade for the kids. I tend to use the fuller fat to make it a little tastier when you're cooking, when you're baking.
And they're a little bit more fluffy when
yes,
you do.
That's true. So next up, very important in your pantry, are your oils and your vinegars. So when we're talking about oils, it's really important to know which oils to pair with whatever you're doing in the kitchen. So for salads, we always recommend dressing it with an olive oil. Olive oil is also good for low to medium heat. Anything more than that, it can go rancid. I like to buy my olive oil in glass containers. It actually keeps it better, and you're really supposed to store it in a dark space so that it doesn't get hit with the light. You also, although this is a big bottle, I tend to try to do a little bit smaller of a bottle. I don't have great examples here, but like these are thinner obviously, but the smaller the bottle the better, because every time you open it, the air actually oxidizes a little bit. So I know a lot of times I've seen, my mom used to do this all the time, buy the big giant things of oil in the plastic containers with the handle, because when you buy in bulk it's cheaper, but at the same time if you don't use it, we use a ton of oil in my house, but if you don't use it and you have to keep opening it, you're just not preserving the oils the way that they're meant to be. This is another one that we really like, avocado oil. For avocado oil, you can use it as a very high smoke point. So you can actually use it for a high temperature cooking and even frying. So if I do something like if I bread chicken for my kids, I'll use olive oil for that, avocado oil for that.
And this really doesn't have like a taste like olive oil does.
Right.
So a lot of times, like when you're doing your baking recipes and it calls for like vegetable oil, which is really disgusting, I will substitute it with avocado oil. And again, the boys don't notice a difference in the product.
Right, and always try to look for, 100% pure. It may not be, it might be like one of those things to trick you, like 100%. Look for things like organic, expeller pressed, extra virgin for your olive oil, cold pressed, something like that. Because the more processes has to happen for an oil to get to be an oil, the more odors and deodorizers they have to use, and it's just the more that it's more processed and worse for you. What about vinegars, Serena?
Well, again, always organic. I don't do a lot of apple cider vinegar, but I know Jess and her family do. I do more of the organic balsamic vinegar, especially for like salad dressings and stuff like that. It's just a lot cleaner to use this as opposed to something that's store-bought, because again, you're looking at the ingredient list. Maybe you're not reading the ingredient list. You don't know what that sneaky stuff that they're sneaking into the product are. Your organic balsamic vinegar is really basic. It gives a little flavor to your salad without compromising, basically.
Right. It's good to get these acids from vinegars in your body. I know a lot of people think of the opposite, that we don't want to be too acidic, but your stomach actually needs the acids to have gut health. So red wine vinegar is another one of my favorites. I make my own salad dressings with them. It's much better. We'll go through a whole reading the label kind of video with you guys at another time. And salad dressings are one of those beware kind of products, because they can put a ton of stuff in there to make it tasty, where you can make your own from home. There's a lot of things you can add to olive oil and these vinegars to even doll it up a little bit so you can get a little extra flavor.
And they'll slap like a natural label on the front, making you think that like, oh, I'm buying a healthy version of salad dressing, but they're sneaky.
Right. Coconut oil is also good for high temperatures. It does have a taste. So avocado oil, I have to say, really doesn't change the taste of anything. You can taste when something's cooked in coconut oil, so it is a preference. I personally like coconut oil. Some people don't. I might cook eggs in this. I might cook my kids their pancakes in this. But in baking, a lot of times this comes in handy. So when you're buying your coconut oil, again, look for organic, cold pressed, unrefined, extra virgin, that type of thing, to make sure that you're getting the right one.
And then I know a lot, because of just convenience, we like the sprays, right? Like, I mean, I do too. Especially for like our air fryer, it's just a lot easier to spray it down. They're not ideal, but if you are gonna go with a spray, coconut oil is a lot better than that canola or vegetable oil that's commonly on the market.
Right. Okay, so the next up is our coffees and teas. I'm a big fan of coffee. I probably have one in my hand almost any time during the day. I do drink my coffee black, so I give myself a little pass, because I feel like I'm not adding a lot of extra sugar and milk in my life when I drink my coffee. But when you're buying coffee is one of those things that can be filled with pesticides, and it can have a lot of things in there when they grow it. that you want to make sure that you don't get in contact with. So organic is what I try to tell people to get. They do have a lot of great organic coffees out there now, even for Keurigs and such.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I like dark roast, but really that doesn't really matter. It's the cleanliness of the bean that actually matters. I buy whole bean because, again, when you're buying something in bulk, it's fresher when you can just take a little bit out at a time and ground it. The other thing is, a tip that I've learned along the way is that try to get coffee from one region. When you look for a coffee that's blended, there's more susceptibility to it being with pesticides and things like that. So you want to just make sure that if you can, to just get it from one region versus another. Same thing with teas. I always look for organic. Tea is amazing. Green tea has so many great benefits. I buy organic matcha green tea also. But really, any herbal teas, they're a really great substitute for if you want to kick a coffee habit or you want a little bit of a caffeine fix in the middle of the day. And then there's also some great herbal ones that just give you a lot of different beneficial minerals and herbs and spices and things like that. So really, you can't go wrong with tea, especially if you get organic.
Right.
You want to go over some spices?
Okay, so some spice. I mean, your spice cabinet. I have a lot of stuff in my spice cabinet, but primarily what you kind of want to have in there, we have cinnamon, vanilla, turmeric, salt, and pepper. So I'll go over so there's a lot of different vanilla extracts that are on the market. I use this a lot in my baking. I'm sure Jess does too. You want to look for pure and organic. Otherwise, you're talking about, again, added fillers, ingredients that doesn't need to be there. Vanilla on its own is flavorful. You don't need to be adding other crap to it. So what you're looking for is pure vanilla extract and organic. And then same thing for your cinnamon. You want organic ground cinnamon, because if you think about what a cinnamon looks like, it's a stick. So it's exposed to whatever the farmer is using, spraying on his crops. So again, you definitely want to go for organic and ground.
I also get organic for my turmeric most of the time. This one doesn't happen to be organic. But the thing about turmeric is there's a lot of benefits to turmeric as well. One tip I give my clients is that you have to pair it with pepper for you to actually get the benefits of the turmeric. I know a lot of people try to look for like turmeric in their pills, and I know they make a lot of supplements out there, but honestly getting it closer to the source is always better. It just allows the body to absorb it and use it a lot better than you don't really know what's going on in the pill. So I usually tell people to always pair these two together. And then as far as your salt, everybody always puts a big no-no on sodium. I know people try to cut sodium, and I'm not saying to not try to cut out added sodium in products that you might find in those aisles in the supermarket that's used more as a preservative, really. But adding salts, especially if it's like a Himalayan sea salts, is actually very good for your body to get that mineral. So I would say that, don't eat bland food. I mean, healthy food can taste great. So again, that's why Serena said you can have as many spices as you want in your spice cabinet. We use paprika a lot, onion salt, garlic powder, things like that. But having some of these just as go-tos with benefit is really helpful. I tend to use the vanilla not only in baking, because a lot does call for that, but in my shakes as well. Because again, if you want a little sweetener, you can cut out some of the fruit, just add a little vanilla extract. And same thing with the cinnamon on your either oatmeal or on your plain yogurt, right? Full fat always, but plain is better than them adding things that make it taste better in there, like fruit. If the ingredient is not that fruit, it's not beneficial for you. So adding your own toppings is a great idea. And all of these pantry toppings are really great to add on to something like that.
And the thing with the seasonings, you want to err on the organic side if you can. I know that the price will run up a little bit, but the good thing is with your seasoning is that a little goes a long way. So maybe you spent a little, like double the price on your cinnamon, but the cinnamon is not going to go in a week. It's going to last you a while. So maybe you do replace your seasoning a little bit by here, and the next thing you know, your whole cabinet is switched over to organic. And again, it's not like you're going to be blowing $100 a week on seasoning. That's like crazy.
Right. Oats are definitely another controversial topic. I do have oats. My kids like oatmeal. It's more of a taste thing for me. I don't enjoy the taste of oatmeal, and I would have to add too much on it to actually get a beneficial breakfast. I'd rather go for eggs or a shake. But there are people out there that like them. So again, organic, steel cut is great. I know they take a little bit longer, although these happen to be more of a quick cook. Steel cut. Quick oats are great in a pinch, but they're actually because they're quickly digested, they will raise your blood sugar a little bit more. So I definitely tend to tell people to get something that will take a little longer to cook. These are also great for overnight oats, which actually soak it. When you soak the oat, it takes some of those things out of the oat that are more allergenic anyway. So what I would not recommend is that you go for the pouches that you might find in the aisles next to the cereals that can be hidden with sugar and preservatives, natural flavorings, things like that. So it's better to go right to the source and just have oats as the ingredient, and then doll it up with some of these things that we've shown you here: nuts, berries, cinnamon, vanilla, maple syrup, honey. I mean, the sky's the limit. You can do a much better job than all the added ingredients that you'll see with some of the oats that you'll find in the supermarket.
And honestly, these containers, while you might not look at it on the shelf as it being cheaper, you get more bang for your buck than those stupid little pouches anyway.
Right.
Like, they really are. They work out to be more expensive than the actual container.
Yes,
like
the serving you're using is like a quarter cup and it grows.
Exactly.
So you don't need to worry about one pouch per serving.
Right.
So, so yeah, definitely. We notice that there's some things that we don't have here. We don't have cereals. We don't have granola. I mean, again, we can have this topic in a label video that we'll do for you, but a lot of those things are not the way you want to go for your breakfast. I think we covered plenty in here that'll steer you in the right direction, but you definitely want to tend to go to what's the natural, what's close to the earth, what's clean eating. When you have things in your pantry, again, that will help you make the better choices so that you're not grabbing those very quick things that you might have in your kitchen. Any other tips, Serena?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, so hopefully, again, reference your fridge video so that you can create your own shopping list. This is a great thing to do before you go shopping. Take a look at this video and the fridge video and get some tips on what to put on your shopping list. We always tell our clients, don't go without a list, because you end up either forgetting many things that you intended or you end up buying things that you did not intend to do.
Right.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.